around the world. And on more than 50 campuses, they've already won. They've won this great victory that is taking place. It's a tremendous thing that's happening around America. Public financing of elections. Not just the McCain-Feingold thing, which the Supreme Court now is messing with down in Washington, and that's a good step forward, but that ain't it. We've got to have public financing of our elections and clean. 4 states have done that statewide. Massachusetts, of course, though we got problems there, and we'll talk about that. But Maine and Vermont and Arizona have done it as well. North Carolina has done it for their judicial elections. New Mexico just did it this year for their public utility elections. This is something we can do. And with public financing, you just don't get the corporate money out. You allow a regular person to be able to run for office again. Because you, if you're a school teacher, a cab driver, a hardware store owner, you've got access to a pool of money that would let you be competitive with the incumbent. It completely changes the balance of power in our electoral process. It is a system that works, and Massachusetts Clean Elections is here tonight too. Get connected with them, because we're going to make it happen here in Massachusetts before we're through. I don't know if you saw what happened down in Cancun, Mexico, just a few weeks ago, but the third world countries have just said no to corporate globalization, to stiffing them. And the people of Bolivia this last week just did the same, tossing out their president in the process. But my point being, there are these tremendous fights all across our country, and you know it because it's taking place right here. The great fight that the unions in this area are making to bring economic justice on these progressive campuses that exist here, who are awarding contracts to people who then subcontract to subcontractors who exploit workers, who knock them down with wages that are beneath a poverty wage, who allow them no workers' compensation, who allow them no benefits, no health care, no payment into Social Security, put all the burden on the workers. This is not justice. This is not what these great universities represent. We've got to stand for more than that. And if you'll join with the painters and allied trades who are out here, they've got their table back here as well, asking you to sign up with a petition to talk to the presidents of these universities. All that we're talking about here is justice. We're talking about the values of our country, the very founding values that we represent. That's what's under assault. This is the big theft that is taking place. It's not just a matter of some wages over here and some environmental regulations over there. They're stealing the very idea of America. There was a bumper sticker on an old pickup truck in my town of Austin that I saw last year. It said, "Where are we going, and what am I doing in this handbasket?" People have a sense that something's gone terribly wrong in our country. We're being led off down some rabbit trail, off the true path of America, and that path is the path toward egalitarianism. That's the historic importance of you and me, our predecessors, and those who would follow us. We're trying to create an egalitarian society. Very few people in history have had the possibility of even thinking about that. And very few people in the world today have that possibility, but we do. We have the possibility to create a society that would attempt to implement those values of economic fairness, social justice, equal opportunity for all. What a wondrous thing that would be. We haven't achieved it. We spent 225 odd years attempting it, though. The framers laid down a possibility. There wasn't much egalitarianism back then, though. The first presidential election, if you were a woman, you couldn't vote. You were African American, you couldn't vote. If you were Native American, you couldn't vote. If you did not own land, you could not vote. Only 4% of the people were eligible to vote in the first election that chose George Washington to be president of the United States. So they didn't create democracy, but they laid down the possibility for it. And it's been the abolitionists and the suffragists and Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass and the populists and the labor movement, the civil rights movement, women's movement, the environmental movement that have extended that possibility. And that's the great shame that is happening now on Wall Street and in Washington, is they're saying we no longer have to even attempt that. We're going to be a different nation now, in which we can celebrate the good fortunes of the few without worrying about the well-being of the many. That's not America. That's not worthy of us. We might make money, but we would have lost the very idea of America in the process. That's the big fight that we're in today. And that's a fight that is worthy of all of us. And that's the fight that I see taking place at the grassroots level. I come to you as that rarest of birds, a progressive optimist. And the optimism that I feel is genuine, for I've seen it. I've been at the kitchen tables, I've been in the union halls, I've been on in the protest rallies and on the lines out there with folks who are doing so much to take our country to that ideal of egalitarianism. And our joyous challenge is not to create a progressive movement. It's already there. But we got to link it up, connect it up, unite it. Because folks on one side of town don't know the people on the other side of town. We've all got these great battles going and often winning these battles. But we're not connected up into a true movement. And that is our next step. And that is where you and I come in. We've got to reach across all of those lines. And that's why I love the Jobs with Justice pledge here that they're asking you to sign. Sign up for 5 things that you would engage in. You don't even have to choose them yet. Down the road, you can choose them. Do 5 things for somebody else's effort. That's what builds a movement. The notion that we're all in this together, the common good, is what matters. And that's the truth. We've been progressive passively, but that no longer will do. We've got to become aggressive again, because the powers that be have become radically regressive, running roughshod over us. And that's the effort that we've got to make. And I'll tell you one more thing, and that is that battling the bastards is just about as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. So, I mean, turn it loose. Get out there and do it. This is a good time to be alive and to be progressive. So let's team up and go out there and make this happen. It is up to us. It always has been up to us in the great history of this country. Ordinary folks doing the heavy lifting of democracy. There's a moving company in my town of Austin that has an advertising slogan that I have usurped. This moving company says, in fact, they've got an ad in the Yellow Pages says, if we can get it loose, we can move it. That's what we're talking about, folks. Get it loose at the grassroots level, and the people will move it for themselves. Thank you very much. Glad to be with you.